Hello everyone, it's Pam from GlamJunkJournals. I hope you guys are all doing well today. I am super excited to be back here with you today doing another From Inspiration to Junk Journal series. If you're not familiar with what that is, it's a series on my channel where I take an inspirational item and build a junk journal based on that item. And let me show you, oh my goodness, what we're going to use for the inspiration for this particular journal. I got these quite a while ago, and they're bridge tally cards, and I absolutely fell in love with this gorgeous image on the front. And as you can see on the back, these are unused, and I just think these are fabulous. Oh my gosh, and I got a set of them, and I've been wanting to use these as inspiration for a journal for quite some time. So I finally, after being settled into my new home, we are gonna rock this. Oh my goodness, I just love it. Isn't it just fabulous? So what I look at when I have an inspirational piece is I look at the colors, and I want to play up the greens, and I want to do gold, and then the black and the cream. Well, that was pretty obvious. But that's going to be the inspiration for my color scheme. So I want to stick with those colors, and I don't know if I am going to use any other colors in the journal at all. So what we're going to create today is a lace collaged journal cover. It's going to be a soft cover, meaning it's not attached to chipboard or a cardboard box or anything like that. And it's a little bit different than the lace masterboard journal covers that I've created in the past, and I'll show you why. So what I did is I created one cover, and really there's going to be two journals that I'm creating with this gorgeous piece. So I've created one journal cover, and we're going to create another one today. So here it is, and it's not all put together. It's not the final journal cover, but these are so easy to come together. And like I say with any of my tutorials, they can be tailored to any theme, any aesthetic that you prefer. Now, I love the vintage, lacy, feminine aesthetic, but these can be tailored, like I said, to anything. So what you're gonna need is some lace. Now, where do I get my lace? I gotta tell you, thrift stores. And sometimes some antique stores, although they can be a little more pricey than thrift stores. And so let me show you what I've got here that we're going to use today. This is a massive, if I got a little pin in there, a massive tablecloth. And I'm not going to show it all to you because I won't be able to fit it all in the camera. Isn't that cool? I just love this. This was at an antique mall store, and it wasn't too pricey, not at all. And then this, we're going to use today. This was a robe, and it is a see-through robe, so it was pretty fancy there. And so, looking at other sections of thrift stores, not just the domestic section, but the clothing section, I think this is just wonderful. You can see the sleeve there, and I have cut a lot of it up already. So in addition to a couple pieces of lace, whoops, I'm sorry, I bumped the camera here. some fabric, and this is just a cotton fabric. I absolutely love the Harlequin, the diamond print, and that is going to go so awesome with this journal. So just a cotton piece of fabric. I wouldn't use a satin or a real flimsy silk because I don't think it would hold up as well. So this is just basically cotton fabric. I think I got this at Hobby Lobby probably, or Joann's, and some batting. And this I did get at Joann Fabrics. It's not a real thick batting, but it's, you know, I don't know, not real thin either. I hate to be so vague, but just whatever thickness you want for your journal cover, because we're going to be layering the laces and the cotton fabric and the batting. So I just like batting because it gives a little bit of weight to the journal cover, but not too much. So that is what we're going to use today. So let me get my act together here, guys. Okay, so I'm gonna take this apart and show you how to put one together. And then of course I've started with my, you know, my blingy appliques and trims. I just love those, and I will link the Etsy shop that I've got these gorgeous trims from. I just think they're fabulous. It's Mary, not Martha. And in addition, I know I've talked about this before, but the gorgeous trims from Sheila of Bohodaydreams, that's where this is from also. So let's see, let me move all this stuff out of the way. I got to get organized again. And one last thing here, I am thrilled to be a guest design team member for A Trace of Sparkle. And I'm not going to show you the digitals yet, but I'm using her Nostalgic Dreams kit. And it goes so well with the aesthetic and the colors that I am using in this journal. And you'll see that in future videos in this particular series, From Inspiration to Junk Journal, when we get into the pages. So enough of me talking, let's create this. So what I've done is I've used my cotton fabric for the interior, and I just love that pop. Isn't that just beautiful? Ah, I love this pattern. I love it. So this particular, you know me, I always get crowded. Let me get my act together, like I said. So this particular piece of cotton fabric is probably about 13 inches. And it's 13 inches across, and it's about eight and a quarter tall. So you need a piece of that particular cotton fabric, or we shouldn't say that, any particular fabric that you want. So I have cut one, and like I said, it is 13 by 8. So we've got that. In addition, I've cut my batting down, and that is the same, whoops, I can't read upside down, 13 by 8. So we're going to be layering. And so there are those two pieces. And if you need to cut your batting down, you know, you can be as precise as you want up to the edges. I just don't want my batting to show on the other side of this cotton fabric here. So I'll move that out of the way. And then let me show you what I've done to the cover here. I've layered some lace. And the way I picked my lace, oh, and I'm sorry, I should have mentioned this. I also added this piece, this doily. I'm not sure what this was, but I did get this at a thrift store too, because I created another pocket along the back. So have fun. You can usually find these type of items readily at thrift stores. They seem to have an abundance of them, at least the ones that I've been to. So yeah, look around for those, and I think these are pretty easy to find. So what was I talking about? Oh yeah, so we're going to be doing some layering. So what I'm going to show you how what I'm going to do is show you how I cut down this big old tablecloth. Now what I did is, as you can see on the edges, they have a finished edge on this particular tablecloth. And I do like that edge, but not for this particular application. So I'm gonna get into the middle of this baby here. I'm gonna hold it off camera because I'll probably bonk the camera again here. And you know, I don't think it really even matters you know, where you pick to cut from, because it's going to be covered up. So let's just do this. And you want a piece of this particular lace a little bit bigger than the 13 inches that we spoke of, because I like a little bit of overhang on the edges of my journal. Journal cover. I like that look. See this kind of jagged edge, and we're going to do that today. So I am going to get out my scissors here, or actually my rotary cutter, and we're just going to cut away. Now this is the eyeball method here. I'm just going to cut. Hold on just a second. I need my other thing. Oh, I forgot. Although this really doesn't matter because I'm not going to be real precise. So I'm just going to cut a square, or actually it's a rectangle, not a square, sorry. So let's see, how long is that? That's about 10 if I go all the way down to the bottom here. And let me move this up a bit. So we're going to go 13 across. And believe me, or actually, excuse me, no. Back up the truck a minute. Like I said, I want this a little bit bigger than the 13, so we're going to go 15. So that's right about there. And it's falling off my table because it's so big. Oh. All right, so I gotta figure this out here. I gotta hold it with my leg. I'm standing up, you guys. All right. So it's so nice to be back to crafting. All right, so we're just gonna wing it here. I think that's about 15. So I'm gonna cut across. And like I said, jagged and uneven is good for me. Now, a lot of people, I get it, want to be precise, and that's fine. So let's see how I did here. This is how I craft, guys. Oh, wow. I gotta turn this up. Can you guys read when it's upside down? I mean, like the numbers, I can't. It just totally flips me out. Okay, so that's about 15, so I'm right. Right on. And I need to hold this up again. Ugh. It's not wanting to stay up, you guys, because it's so big. It's pulling down. It's pulling down off my table. Yikes. Okay. So I want about 8. See, I can't read this. I've got to hold it. Are you guys the same way? Am I the only one that does this kind of stuff? So it's about 8. All right, so we're gonna make a mark right there, and we're gonna go straight across. If I can hold the dang thing on my table. actually, you know what? Let's go a little longer because I want the overhang. I want the overhang a little bit more. So even though I did that, that'll be okay. And you guys will see why in a minute. Let's do about 9 inches. Okay, so a little bit more, maybe an inch long, an inch more. Come on. And this is not even because I'm not being precise, like I said. And I like it that way, and I'll show you guys why in a minute. All right. Jeez Louise. Just gonna pull that apart if I can. Okay, get this big old tablecloth out of the way. Ah, that thing is huge, you guys. Okay, so we've got our lace right here, right? So thanks for hanging with me while I was finagling that. And it doesn't look exactly in a rectangle. And whoops, I like that. So what I'm going to do is I like to kind of distress the edges, kind of fray them. So I'm just going to take some cuts and just go around and, you know, make some little jagged edges here and go all the way around, you know, just random, so they're not straight. I feel that this kind of look is conducive to the vintage, well-worn look that I like. So that's why I do this. And you, I think they have tools for this, but I don't have one. So that's okay. All right. Just go along there. And that one looks pretty jagged already. So I'm gonna move this out of the way here. And then what I like to do is just pull it apart. Not literally, but you know, take your nails and your fingers and just rough it up a bit. Rough it up like it's been around for a long time. See, I like that. I like that frayed edge. And with this particular lace, I think that that looks really cool, and it's really easy to do. Nothing precise here, that's for sure. And you can go and see, you know, which parts are more jagged or which ones you want to distress up a bit. So there's our piece. Yay. Yay. So like I said, let's see how big it is. Yep, it's about 9.5, 12 by 14. So that's perfect. That is perfecto. All right, so let's get to layering here. Let me move this out of the way, and I'll get out what we've done, or what I did ahead of time. Okay, so like I said, this is going to be the interior. I'm gonna flip that over, and we're going to put it all together. Now I'm looking at this, and when I cut this, line it up, because like I said, I don't like the batting to stick out. To me, that bugs. Now see, that's one of the things that does bug me. So this is a little bit long. I'm just gonna cut that down a teeny bit, like so, and it doesn't matter if it's not even. Whoa, look at that. Whew. Not even close to being a straight line, but that's okay, because this is all going to be hidden. All right, there we go. Okay, so what did I do? As you know, I like to look at my examples. So on the top, I layered our piece, And at first I was like, oh, I don't like this white. I don't care for white that much. But when you put your lace overneath, is that a word? No, it's not, it's not a word. What the heck? Where'd that come from? When you put your lace over the top, you can hardly see it, and it kind of gives it a good look. So see, there was my mess up right down there. It's not even a mess up. You can't even tell. All right, so there's that. And then on top of that particular lace, I put a more sheer lace, the robe. And what I did with the robe is I did cut a piece ahead of time, and I did the same thing with the piece. I cut it, you know, kind of swirly, kind of jagged, and then I did the same thing. I just pulled it just a tad around the edges, and I made this one smaller. And the reason I did that is because I like to have the layered look. So there you go. That is your journal cover. Love this. Oh, and it's so quick to come together. Now, granted, we're going to do the finishing, you know, touches and all that other kind of stuff. So what I did after that is, and let me do this for you. Hold on just a second here. I want to measure what this top piece of lace is, just so it gives you guys an idea. So that was about 12. This sheer lace is about 12, and that's 7. So I make it a little bit smaller for each of the layers so you can see the one behind it. So there we go. So I am going to get out a piece of the same trim. It came doily or whatever this was. I think it was some sort of doily. And I'm just going to lay it down like that. And I like to have some overhang. I think it adds a lot of interest to your journal cover, but that's totally optional. So I am going to just tack this down with some Fabri-Tac, and I'll show you how I do that. So let's see here. Going to just go around the edges and make, you know, just a little bit. Just get down, let me move this out of the way. Just a little bit, and you can do the whole thing. There are materials that you can use, like, what's it called? Heat and bond and all that kind of stuff. But I find that if you do a light dab of Fabri-Tac and just don't get heavy-handed so you don't see glue globs, it looks fine, see? And that's real easy to do. So that is tacked down. You can go around the edges if you want, like so. And you can always come back to this later. And this is either your choice, sew or no sew. You guys know how I like to sew, but that's definitely optional. So there's that. And then we're gonna put our layers back on. So here is that, like so. And I wanna make sure that it looks good from the other side. Now see this, look at that. See this little deal? That's sticking out just a little bit, so I'm gonna cut that. And since I'm visually, I have to move it to the right side. I always cut from the right. Do you guys cut from a certain side? I don't know, I do. Whew. Okay. Yeah, that looks better. That looks wonderful. Okay, now on the back side, before we sew this all together, what I want to do is put on my, let's see, what am I doing here? Getting ahead of myself again. I want to add that onto it. So this is going to be my front. It's going to be a pocket, right? So that's just an applique, like I said, from Bohodaydreams, or I should say some trim. But you could do another piece of fabric. You could do another piece of lace. You don't even have to do a pocket. But I like to add a bunch of layers. I feel that it provides interest, and it's just a fun thing to have as a pocket on the front of your journal. And then this is some trim that I got at Hobby Lobby. It was on clearance. They usually have clearance sections, at least the Hobby Lobbies that I've been to, and they have like a whole, not a ream, but a whole thing of these types of trims on clearance. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little wordy here today, but I got this for like $10. It says 20 yards for $10 or some ridiculous thing. So check out the clearance section at Hobby Lobby too. So all right, I want to make sure that this is straight, because that is one of the things that I like to have is my pockets straight. I don't like them, you know, to be every which way. So I'm going to tack this down. And like I said, this is a sew or a no sew project. So we're gonna do that, but we're also going to tack the sides of the lace here. Now, like I said, I am going to sew, but if you're not, that's perfectly fine. I would just make sure that all of your edges are securely glued down. Tack all that. Looks really good. It's a really, really fun project, and I don't know, you can just take it any which way. It's so versatile. All right, so there's all the, whoops, stay. All right, so let's see, what do I need to do now? Okay, so I want to tack this down, right? I'm talking to myself because I want to make sure that I remember what I'm doing. And I'm just going to go on the side of the pocket. Oh, another piece, that would be cool if I made it with a piece of fabric too. Oh, that would be cool. But I'm going to stick with the green for this particular journal. I gotta hold it up here. Does that look straight? I think it does. I think so. And then what I did so let me back up again. What I did on my example is when you fold this over, now remember we said it was 13. I want to have my cover 6 inches for the front and 6 for the back. So we're gonna fold it over, there's 6, and then you're gonna have this little bit of extra, because remember we made this longer. So I'm going to fold that over, and it's going to create a pocket on the interior. So there's gonna be the journal cover. On my example, I added a little bit of the gold tool because I'm playing up the tool. So we're gonna do that for this. Now remember, this was just tacked down a little bit, so I'm going to stick it right, I'm gonna stick it right underneath. Let's see, which fabric did I stick it under? I stuck it under here like that. Whoops, there's my tally card. And I like to do the smush technique where you just kind of scrunch it in there. And this is the tool that I got at Walmart. that whole row or that roll, and just stick it in there. You can be as, have it stick out as much or as little as you want. Just gonna glue that down, tack that down. Come on, my Fabri-Tac is running out. I've got to get some more. I go through this stuff so quickly, so fast. So I'm going to just tuck all that under. And like I said, I like to smush it in there, because what that does is it creates like an uneven border, I guess, if you want to say, and more of a jagged edge. And to me, I like that rather than having it just straight. But there again, personal preference here. So there's that. So that is done. And then we're going to flip it over. Now remember, none of this is sewed together yet. And it doesn't even have to be. I'm just going to do that on mine. On my example, I created a lace pocket right along here. This is 2 pieces of lace that I just connected together. I sewed right down the middle, and I just cut it to about the same size as my side here. And it's a little shorter, but I don't mind that. And I also did do the, fraying of the edges to give it a more aged, distressed look. And then we're gonna tack that down. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to tack it right along the edge here, because I do want a pocket to, the pocket to be, or I should say it's probably more of a side tuck. I want the side tuck to be deep so that something will stay in it, because I have done that where it's just a little bit right here, and then whatever ephemera or booklet or whatever you want to tag, put in there, kind of falls out all the time. And then I placed it so that a little bit of the lace sticks out, like so. So there you have it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and sew around the edges, and then I'll be right back and I'll put this all together. So hold on just a sec. Okay guys, I have finished sewing around the edge on the border here, and I did a zigzag stitch with a gold thread all the way around the edges. Now, since for this particular journal, I created the cover first, and what I want to call your attention to is when you create your signature or your signatures, depending on how thick they are, I want to make sure mine fit with this journal cover. So like I told you guys, this journal cover measures almost 14 inches. Now I want the front of my journal to be 6 inches. So I've got a 6-inch front and a 6-inch back. Now that leaves me 2 inches for my spine. Now I am going to make this particular journal a little bit smaller. So let's say 1 inch. So what that leaves is on the interior, the ability to create a little fold over here and have another side tuck. But I like that because what I'm going to do is not be set on how far I fold this over, if at all. I'm going to create my signatures first, and then I'm going to see how much I have left over, if that makes sense. So if I have about 1 inch spine, which is this ruler here, just pretending that that's the spine along the side there, right? So 1 inch, that gives me, as you can see, if it's a 6-inch cover, it gives me quite a bit to fold over. And I think that is really fun. And that's what's cool about this, is it can be modified and catered and just not altered, but it will work for whatever size your signatures end up being, unless they're, you know, really huge. And then in that case, you could add more lace or something on the edges to make it a bigger journal cover. So I hope that makes sense. So what my plan is to have about a 1-inch spine. So I will have the ability to have a little bit of a fold over, and that way another side tuck. So here's going to be the front. And I do want to add more embellishments. You know me, I know it, but that's just my personal way I do journals. So I want to add an applique or a few, and then I want to put some tags or some ephemera. I haven't figured out what particular ephemera, that's a little big. You know, some tags along the interior, and of course I have to showcase my tally card. So it's going to come together something like that. And along this fold over, I thought of maybe adding a little bit of extra trim poking out the side, something along those lines. And then for the closure, I was thinking a lace tie closure. Now this is just the preliminary. I'm not sure if this is actually going to come about here, but those are my thoughts. Like that, you know, add some jewels. I'm not sure yet. So that's where we're ending up for the day, is our collaged lace journal cover. Oh, I'm so happy with this. It's just gonna be beautiful. I'm super excited. So thanks for hanging with me today, everyone, and give it a shot. And in the comments, I've got some ideas for some upcoming videos in this series, but if there's something specific in particular with this journal you'd like me to talk about and do a tutorial on, I'd be happy to do that. So always feel free to leave me a comment. I love reading them and they just make my day. You guys are all so wonderful. So we've got our journal covers, yay! So I'm excited for the next in my From Inspirational to Junk Journal series. So I will see you very soon, and thanks for watching, guys. Bye!